Hey Firebirds, it's Lynn and Kim, your diligent, glad coaches, issuing the next video in our collection. This video is entitled Narrative Input Chart, the Next Step. So you saw the narrative input chart revealed for the first time at the training. Now we have done a review, so after I have all of those cards up, I'm going to go back and do a word card review with students. Now, because this is a math chart, and it's particularly important for students to understand the vocabulary, the connection between the oral language and the actual word as they move into other math, all of these were actual words or formula cards.
How did you find the words?
How did I find the words? What a great question. Okay, so I'm going to show you my notebook. So this is my narrative input chart notebook. It has everything for this narrative input chart. So I open it up. Here is the backdrop. Now I particularly love arts. And so I made a very fancy desert scene with a tiled house such that you might find in the desert outside of Baghdad. In my imagination. I have no proof of this whatsoever. So this is my chart, but I could use something very simple. I could just have it could just be brown, but it's a good idea to have some sort of indicator of the scene so that students have a sense that this is happening at a time or a place. So here's my chart. Now behind this, I have this red envelope, which is filled with all kinds of word cards, which I'll come back to. And then I have images that I found just using Google. So for instance, in this story, it's about some men arguing over camels. So I found pictures of men with camels. Like I literally Googled men with camels. And then I Googled camels of different numbers, like a man with 4 camels, pictures of multiple camels. So as you can see, this is a very scientific process, meaning no, not really. And then here's the title page of the story, which again, I Googled, illustration, cover of this particular book, The Man Who Counted. So here's all my pictures. What you can see on the back of each of these, so here's the title page. On the back, I have a chunk of the story that goes with this particular image. So I have the story chunked here. But once I put these up on my background, I'm not going to be able to read the story on the back of it because it's up on my background. So then I have another version of my text here, which is also chunked. And this is the one that I read when I do the narrative input chart review. So I read through this, and I know to kind of stop in between my pages because it says 1, 2, etc., etc. Now, how did I pick my cards? Well, again, because this is a math narrative, I wanted to be sure to have, I'm going to pull these out. There are 26 of these, in case you're wondering. We didn't put all of them up when we did the chart. So one thing that I did is I pulled quotations from the story. You are a most intelligent man. Well, that's pretty cool. And it makes sense that it's a quote. When you hear it, it sounds like a quote, so I put that on quote. Then I also made cards representative of various of the equations from the story. So every time there was an equation, I made a card for it. And then I made, featured the words for fractions, so like half, 1/3, 1/9. And then from there, again, just trying to highlight some of the key words. I picked interesting phrases, so like cultivator of algebra is something that a person could actually be who is not in this story. So like in real life, one of my kids could become a cultivator of algebra. And wouldn't that be cool? So this was like just a cool phrase that I put on a card. Another quotation, impossible division. This is the problem of the story, is that they have an uneven number of camels and an uneven number of brothers, and how would they make the division, which we know how that happens because we read the story. Malba Tahan is the author of The Man Who Counted. And this is a wonderful book. There are all kinds of stories, math stories, throughout this whole book. So this one, which I think is called Beast of Burden. Yeah, Beasts of Burden is just one of the many stories from The Man Who Counted. So if you're teaching algebra or geometry, you might want to think about that book. So basically, that's how I chose them.
How many words should I have? Does it matter?
I used to think, like back when I made this chart, I used to think that I needed a word or phrase or picture card for every single person in my classroom. What I have found out since is that I don't actually have to do that. Kids can share a word or phrase card, and actually it oftentimes works better if they do share, because what happens is when every individual child has a word card, you'll get to the end of your story, and there will still be kids with word cards because they're like, oh my God, and somebody got up, and oh my God, and where's my word? And I'm kind of not even listening anymore. So it's almost a good idea to have two kids on the same word card so that one of them is listening attentively to the story and the other one can deal with, all the distractions that are happening. Any other questions? Okay, if you need anything, if you want anything, if you have anything, if you're like, wow, I really want one of those, but I don't have time to make it myself, that's okay. Send it to me, send it to Kim, we will do it. This is super fun for me. I'll speak for self. I'm going to volunteer my friend Kim, but also it's very fun for me, so I'm happy to do it anytime.
I'm in.
Okay. Oh, Kim's in too. Yay, there's two of us. All right, see you later. Bye.
One of the singular episode of the 35 camels that were to be divided between 3 Arab brothers. How Burmese Samir, the man who counted, made an apparently impossible division that left the quarreling brothers completely satisfied. The unexpected profit that the transaction brought us. We had been traveling for a few hours without stopping when there occurred an episode worth retelling, wherein my companion, Burmese, put his talents as an esteemed cultivator of algebra. Close to an old half-abandoned inn, we saw 3 men arguing heatedly beside a herd of camel. Amid the shouts and insults, the men gestured wildly in fierce debate, and we could hear their angry cries. It cannot be. That is robbery, but I do not agree. The intelligent Burmese asked them why they were quarreling. We are brothers, the oldest explained, and we received 35 camels as our inheritance. According to the express wishes of my father, half of them belong to me, 1/3 to my brother Hamed, and 1/9 to Harim, the youngest. Nevertheless, we do not know how to make the division, and whatever one of us suggests, the other 2 disputes. Of the solutions we have tried so far, none have been acceptable. If half of 35 is 17.5, if neither 1/3 nor 1/9 of this amount is a precise number, then how can we make the division? Very simple, said the man who counted. I promise to make the division fairly, but let me add to the inheritance of 35 camels, this splendid beast that brought us here at such an opportune moment. At this point I intervened. But I cannot permit such madness. How are we to continue on our journey if we are left without a camel? Do not worry, my Baghdad friend, Burmese said in a whisper. I know exactly what I'm doing. Give me your camel and you will see the results. And such was the tone of confidence in his voice that without hesitation, I gave over my beautiful camel Jamal, which was then added to the number that had been divided between the 3 brothers. "My friends," he said, "I am now going to make a fair and accurate division of the camels, as you can see, now number 36. Turning to the eldest brother, he spoke thus: "You would have half of 35. That is 17 and a half. Now you will have the half of 36. That is 18. You have nothing to complain about because you gain by this division." Turning to the second heir, he continued, "And you, Hamed, you would have received 1/3 of 35. That is 11 and some. Now you will receive 1/3 of 36. That is 12. You cannot protest, as you too gain by this division." Finally, he spoke to the youngest. "And you, young Harim Namir, according to your father's last wishes, you were to receive 1/9 of 35 camels, or 3 camels and part of another. Nevertheless, I will give you 1/9 of 36, or 4 camels. You have benefited substantially and should be grateful to me for it." And then he concluded with the greatest confidence, "By this advantageous division, which has benefited everyone, 18 camels belong to the oldest, 12 to the next, and 4 to the youngest, which comes out to 18 plus 12 plus 4 equals 34 camels. Of the 36 camels, therefore, there are 2 extra. One, as you know, belongs to my friend from Baghdad. The other rightfully belongs to me for having resolved the complicated problem of the inheritance to everyone's satisfaction." "Stranger, you are a most intelligent man," exclaimed the oldest of the 3 brothers, "and we accept your solution with the confidence that it was achieved with justice and equity." The clever Burmese, the man who counted, took possession of one of the finest animals in the herd, and, handing me the reins to my own animal, said, "Now, dear friend, you can continue the journey on your camel, comfortable and content. I have one of my own to carry me." And we traveled on towards Baghdad.
Okay, so does anything appear to be in the wrong place? Oh, there's 2 pictures that don't have any words on them. Oh, can you fix it for me? Okay. I think this one maybe goes here, and maybe, oh yeah, this one goes here, and then, oh, this looks like more like 12. Okay, so maybe like this goes here. Maybe we can move this here, just so this guy has a thing on him. Okay, looks good. Thank you very much.